All right, get ready because we're doing a deep dive into blogging today.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, we're going to figure out how often you should actually be posting on your new blog.
The eternal question.
Right. And luckily, we've got this awesome article from blogwidow.com to help us out.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of Blog Widow.
Yeah, it's called I Just Started a Blog. How Often Should I Post Articles? So let's figure this out together.
Let's do it.
Okay, so one of the things that really stood out to me in this article was this whole idea that consistency is actually more important than frequency.
Oh, interesting. So it's not just about, like, churning out content all the time.
Yeah, it's more about being reliable.
Okay, I can see that. So, like, if someone knows that, you know.
Like I post every Wednesday at 10 a.m.
Right, exactly. Then they can look forward to it and kind of build it into their routine.
Exactly. It's like that show you're obsessed with. You know exactly when the new episode is going to drop.
I know, right? So it's not just about, the algorithm gods.
It's about the readers. Blogwidow.com also says that the first thing you have to consider is your niche.
Ah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so I'm curious.
Yeah.
How does the topic of your blog actually affect how often you should be posting?
Well, imagine you're running a blog about, like, the hottest new sneakers.
Okay.
That world changes so fast. New releases,
Oh, yeah, I bet.
You'd have to post multiple times a week, maybe even daily.
To keep up.
Yeah, just to stay relevant,
So a sneaker blog is like the Usain Bolt of content creation.
Exactly. But what if you're writing about something, I don't know, like the history of philosophy?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's a lot slower.
Yeah, those ideas are pretty much set.
They don't change every day.
Right.
Yeah.
You could post like a really in-depth article once a week,
Oh, okay.
maybe even less, and that would be fine.
Interesting. So it's like
Yeah.
different niches have different content metabolisms.
I like that. I like that. Now, while we're talking about content, we should probably talk about quality,
Oh,
right?
definitely.
With AI writing tools popping up like crazy, it's more important than ever to have original, high-quality content.
Totally. You can always spot those like generic AI written posts.
No, you can just tell.
Yeah, there's no depth.
Yeah, it's all just surface.
Totally.
And, search engines are getting better at spotting them, too.
Oh, for sure.
They want to see content that's well-written.
Yeah, insightful.
Yeah, insightful.
Yeah.
Genuinely helpful to the reader, you know. And when they find that,
They reward it.
yes.
Okay, so quality content is your VIP pass to the front page of Google.
That's a good way to put it.
Speaking of challenges, blogwidow.com also brings up this whole time and resources thing because most new bloggers, they're not doing this full time.
Oh, no, most have other things going on. Jobs,
Yeah.
families.
Yeah, so you have to be realistic about how much you can actually handle.
Right, right. You don't want to burn out before you even get started.
Better to start slow, be consistent, and then ramp things up later.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. Blogwidow.com even mentions outsourcing tasks, but that's,
Down the line.
yeah, way down the line. When
Yeah.
you're first starting out, it's all about,
Finding your voice.
exactly,
So-
and connecting with your audience.
Okay, makes sense. So blogwidow.com actually gives some specific recommendations for how often to post.
Oh, cool. Like what?
Yeah, so they start with this kind of go big or go home option, which is
Yeah.
posting 3 to 4 times a week.
Wow.
It's a lot, right?
Yeah, that is a lot. I mean, it's great if you're,
Really dedicated.
if you want to build up that content library fast and maybe, make it your full-time thing.
Yeah,
But for most people, it's just not realistic.
totally agree. Then they suggest a more moderate pace, like
Right.
1 to 2 times a week,
Yeah.
which I feel like that's kind of the sweet spot, right?
It feels doable. Like, you can still be consistent, but you're not killing yourself.
Exactly.
You have time to actually, make the content good.
Yeah, focus on quality. But then, and this surprised me, they even mentioned posting just once every 2 weeks.
Oh, wow. That's like the slow burn.
I know, right? I thought that was way too infrequent, but they make a good point.
What's that?
Like, if you're only posting every other week, those posts need to be amazing.
Oh, so like long form.
Yeah, like in-depth, well-researched, packed with value.
Almost like mini ebooks.
Exactly. It's like trading quantity for quality.
Right, right. Sometimes less is more.
Okay, that's making me rethink my whole approach. So, aside from how often you post, blogwidow.com also talks about how to actually stay consistent.
The practical stuff.
Right. And their first tip is to use an editorial calendar.
Oh, the trusty editorial calendar. It's a lifesaver, honestly.
It's like your secret weapon, right?
Yeah, you can plan out your topics, schedule writing sessions, even jot down promotional ideas, all in one place.
That's so smart. It's like you're not staring at a blank page every week.
Exactly, exactly. You've got a roadmap.
Love it. Okay, so editorial calendar, check.
Check. What else?
They also mentioned this technique called batch writing. Have you heard of
Oh,
that?
yeah. Batch writing is all about efficiency. So instead of writing like a few paragraphs here and there,
Mm-hmm.
you set aside a block of time, maybe an afternoon, maybe even a whole day,
And just write?
and just write. Yeah.
Yeah.
The goal is to like knock out multiple posts
Oh, wow.
in one go.
That's like a content sprint.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
much more efficient. Once you get in the flow,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
the words just start coming.
Yeah, I definitely struggle with like starting and stopping and starting.
Yeah, it totally kills your
Yes,
productivity.
totally. So batch writing, also check.
Check. They also talk about outsourcing, but I think that's,
Probably for later.
yeah, once your blog is bigger. In the beginning, it's all about you and the reader.
Building those connections. And I love how blogwidow.com emphasizes that. Like, you're not locked into whatever you choose at the beginning.
Oh, no, not at all. Blogging is a journey.
Yeah.
As you learn more about your audience,
You can adjust.
you can adjust. Maybe you start posting twice a week, but then you realize,
Once every 10 days is better.
yeah, exactly. It's all about experimenting and like tracking your progress, making tweaks along the way.
So it's not about finding the perfect formula.
No, it's about being flexible
Yeah.
and paying attention to what's working.
Speaking of paying attention, they also talk about using analytics.
Ah, yes. Your data, BFF.
I know I need to use them more, but to be honest, they kind of intimidate me.
Oh, I get it. All those numbers can be scary. But honestly,
Yeah.
even just starting with the basics can give you so much valuable insight.
Okay.
It's like a window into your readers' minds.
So what should you actually be looking at?
Well, start with the big stuff. How many people are visiting your blog?
Okay.
Where are they coming from? Which posts are they actually reading?
Makes sense.
And then you can dig deeper. How long are they spending on each page?
Oh,
Are they
yeah.
clicking through to other posts? That kind of thing.
Wow, it really is like you're getting this feedback.
Even if they don't leave a comment,
Exactly.
you can see what's resonating with them.
And then tweak your strategy.
Exactly. It's so powerful.
Okay, I'm convinced. Analytics are my friend.
They are. And, they might even surprise you. You might find out that, like, a post you thought was just okay.
Is actually doing really well.
Yeah. Or that people are coming to your blog from, like, the weirdest places.
That's so cool. It's like this constant learning process.
It totally is. So before we move on, I just want to circle back to this key takeaway.
Yeah.
That there's no magic number.
Right. It's all about what works for you.
Exactly. What works for one blogger might not work for another.
Yeah.
It depends on your niche, your goals.
Style.
Yeah, all of that. It's about finding your own blogging rhythm.
I love that. Your blogging rhythm.
Once you find it, things will just flow.
All right, so we've talked about why consistency is so important, how your niche affects your posting frequency, the power of quality content, and even some practical tips.
Like editorial calendars and batch writing.
Exactly.
It's a lot to take in.
It is, but it's so helpful. And we've got even more to unpack from this blogwidow.com article, so stay tuned.
Yeah, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after a quick break.
Okay, so we're back, and before the break, we were talking about how to actually stay consistent with your posting schedule, and the editorial calendar is a game changer.
It really is. When I first started blogging, I was kind of all over the place.
I feel that.
Writing when inspiration struck, which, let's be real, wasn't very often.
Mm-hmm.
And then a friend told me about the editorial calendar, and I was like, where has this been all my life?
I know, right? It's like having a roadmap.
It's exactly like that. It's like, okay, this is what I'm doing this week. This is what's coming up next month. No more blank page panic.
Okay, so walk me through this. What does an editorial calendar actually look like?
Well, it can be pretty simple. Some people just use a spreadsheet.
Oh, huh.
But you can also use like Trello or Asana if you want something a little more visual.
I love Trello.
Yeah, me too. But basically, you just need a way to map out your content in advance. So, you've got a column for the date, the topic of your post, maybe some keywords you want to target, promotional ideas, that kind of thing.
So it's not just about like scheduling when you're going to post. It's also about deciding what you're going to post.
Right. You're making a content plan, so you're never scrambling at the last minute.
I need that in my life for sure.
And the other thing that's great about editorial calendars is that they can help you, like, see the bigger picture,
Okay.
Like, you might notice that several of your post ideas kind of revolve around the same theme,
Uh-huh.
and then you can, intentionally group them together or maybe even turn them into, like, a series.
That's so smart. Okay, now while we're talking about staying organized and being efficient, blogwidow.com also mentions batch writing. Yes, this is the cookie analogy, right?
It is. You wouldn't bake one cookie at a time.
No way.
You bake a whole batch.
Right.
And it's the same with writing. So you carve out a chunk of time and just write, write, write.
Oh, I could totally get behind this.
It's so much better than trying to squeeze in a few paragraphs here and there.
Yeah, I always feel like I lose my train of thought.
Yeah, exactly. And when you batch write, you can really get in the zone.
Okay, I'm sold. Batch writing it is. Now, blogwidow.com also mentions outsourcing, but I think that's more for like established blogs.
Yeah, once you're making money and you need to free up some time.
Exactly. In the beginning, it's all about doing it yourself and finding your own groove.
Couldn't agree more. And blogwidow.com really stresses that you're not, like, stuck with whatever posting schedule you choose at the beginning.
Right. Things change.
Things change. You learn, you grow, your audience grows.
So how do you know when it's time to make a change?
Well, if you're constantly feeling stressed out trying to keep up,
Yeah.
or, if you're just not seeing the results you were hoping for, then it might be time to switch things up.
Okay, and how do you know if you're not seeing results?
Well, are people visiting your blog? Are they engaging with your content?
It's all about the data.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Blogwidow.com talks about the importance of using analytics.
I know. Analytics. I'm trying.
It's like your secret weapon for understanding your readers.
What are some of the things you should be looking at in your analytics? Besides the obvious, like, page views.
Well, like where are your visitors coming from? Are they finding you through Google, social media? What kind of devices are they using?
Okay.
How long are they staying on each page? All of that can give you clues about what's working and what's not.
It really is like having a conversation with your readers.
In a way, it is. You're getting this direct feedback, even if they don't leave a comment.
Okay, analytics. I'm coming for you. So we've talked about editorial calendars, batch writing, outsourcing, adapting over time, and even analytics.
We've covered a lot.
We have, and I think the key takeaway here is that there's no one right answer.
No magic formula.
It's all about figuring out what works for you and your unique blogging journey.
Exactly. What works for me might not work for you, and that's totally okay.
I love that message. Before we move on, any final thoughts for our listeners?
Just remember, blogging should be fun.
Oh, that's important.
Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in the numbers and the hustle, but at the end of the day, if you're not enjoying it, what's the point?
So true. And I think when you're enjoying it, that passion comes through in your writing.
Exactly. And people will respond to that.
Okay, so we've officially covered all the bases from blogwidow.com.
I think so.
We talked about how often to post, how to stay consistent, and how to make it all work for you.
We did it.
But we're not done yet. We've got one more segment coming up after the break with even more insights and tips, so stick around. All right, we're back, and I feel like we've uncovered, the secrets of blog posting frequency.
The mysteries have been revealed.
But blogwidow.com doesn't stop there. They actually give some great advice on how to make that consistent posting happen.
That too.
And they talk about this idea of building momentum, which I think is so important.
Yeah, it's like, when you're pushing a boulder up a hill,
Uh-huh.
it's really hard at first, but once you get it rolling,
It's easier.
it gets easier.
Yeah.
Blogging is kind of like that.
Okay, I can see that. But how do you actually get that boulder rolling, especially when you're just starting out?
Well, remember, it takes time.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
It really is.
Yeah.
We live in a world where we want everything like that.
Instant gratification.
Right. But building a loyal audience, it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight.
I think a lot of new bloggers get discouraged by that.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's easy to look at these mega blogs with thousands of followers.
And think, I'll never get there.
Exactly. But remember, they all started with zero.
That's a good point.
So don't get too caught up in the numbers, especially in the beginning. Focus on the content, be consistent, and engage with your readers.
Speaking of engaging with readers, blogwidow.com talked about that too, like responding to comments and actually building that sense of community.
Yeah, it's so important. It's easy to forget that there are real people reading your stuff.
I know, it's not just about algorithms and keywords.
Right, it's about connecting.
Making people feel seen.
Exactly. And, when you respond to a comment or answer a question,
You're building a relationship.
you are. And that's what creates a loyal audience.
It's not just about broadcasting your message.
No, it's a two-way street.
Okay, I like that. So consistent posting builds momentum, you engage with your readers, and eventually all of that turns into,
Like a snowball effect.
yeah, like a thriving community.
I love it.
But let's be real, even with the best of intentions, sometimes life gets in the way, How do you actually stay motivated when things get tough?
Well, you have to remember your why. you know?
Yeah.
Like, why are you doing this in the first place? What's your purpose?
That makes sense.
It's about having a clear vision.
So it can fuel you when you hit those inevitable roadblocks.
Right. And honestly, sometimes it helps to break down your goals into smaller steps.
Okay.
So instead of like obsessing over getting 1,000 followers,
Mm-hmm.
just focus on writing one awesome blog post this week.
That's a lot less daunting.
It is, right? It's all about those baby steps.
Now, what about when you just feel like creatively stuck? Like you've got nothing.
Oh, I know that feeling. Sometimes, honestly, you just need to step away from the computer.
Oh, that's good advice.
Go for a walk. Listen to music.
Take a break.
Yeah, just clear your head. Let your brain recharge.
I love that.
And then, when you come back, you'll be surprised at how much easier it is to create.
Okay, so remember your why, break down your goals, and take breaks when you need them.
Those are the keys.
Blogwidow.com also talked about celebrating your wins, no matter how small.
Oh, absolutely. It's easy to just keep pushing and pushing
And forget to pause.
and forget to appreciate how far you've come. So celebrate those wins, even if it's just finishing a blog post.
I like that.
Acknowledge those little victories. It helps keep you motivated.
So it's like a little reward along the way.
Exactly. And sometimes those small wins, they lead to the big breakthroughs.
I love that. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground today. We talked about how often to post, how to stay consistent, how to stay motivated.
The whole shebang.
And I think the biggest takeaway is that there's no right or wrong answer.
It's all about finding what works for you.
Exactly. So on that note, I want to thank you, our amazing expert, for sharing your insights and wisdom.
My pleasure.
And to you, our listener, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of blog posting frequency.
Happy blogging, everyone.
And that's a wrap.